Hey there guys, welcome back to AFC Game by Game. Tonight we're doing yet another Google Hangout, trying to make this bit of a more regular thing on the channel, and tonight I'm joined by Matt from Bruce City Gunners as well as Seb, and tonight we're going to be discussing more of a preview, think of it that way, for the game on Tuesday night against Swansea, which is going to be a really difficult game, and of course it's a huge week for the Arsenal as we've got the North London derby on the horizon as well. So a lot of things to discuss tonight, and I think something that we've just got to get off our chests immediately is just relieving some of the pressure, well, not pressure, but anger that we're all holding in, I think, from last night. I mean, I did a hangout last night with Danny, and we discussed the humiliation, the humbling we had at Old Trafford. And Seb, I'll come to you first on this one. How do we recover from that game at Old Trafford? Because it was just humiliation. It was embarrassing. We've got to put things right against Swansea by getting just one result. That's got to be a win.
Well, the thing is that the players have to just come out, and this is now a chance to redeem ourselves from it. We have to come out firing out the blocks, take the game to Swansea, attack, attack, attack. And if we get a good convincing win, we have to take that into Spurs. Because I think this manager just needs to lay into these players, because I hate to say this, but I think he's part of the problem as well. Is that there isn't enough leaders out there, or not people that will actually get at them and shout. Because we went into that half-time 2-1 down within a chance. What I would have actually said as a manager is that, right, that performance in that first half was a disgrace. You are lucky you are still in this game. And we have to win this, So you are to go out there and show them why you want it. And what happens? No. We came up like lethargic in the second half, concede the third goal, and we just give up. Seriously, what? I just don't understand that. It's just, oh dearie me.
Yeah, I could definitely sympathise with you there, Matt. It was a horrible day yesterday, losing 3-2 at Old Trafford. I mean, we lost to their kids pretty much. We were talking about it just before we came on, actually, and I mean, I still haven't recovered from it. I'm still struggling to comprehend that, that could put us out in the title race, that game. I mean, how are you feeling coming out of it?
It certainly felt like it yesterday, that's for sure. I know, we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin over here, so for us, this is like a 6:45 a.m. wake up for this game, and a little bit, I don't know, quite disappointing, let's say. We were really, we're still like, we're not doing as great as we should. We're still holding on to that. Yeah, we still have, we can still win it this year. We can still do it. And I just feel like yesterday, everyone in our supporters group here, I feel like all the big names on internet, like we talked about the Hugh Izzy video and Arseblog and Gunner blog, and everyone was posting just, I feel like this is sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people that maybe had been defending the team, defending Wenger, defending the players, all this kind of stuff. We could still do it. We need absolutely to get a result on Wednesday, or else, I mean, even going into the derby, I think is going to be, I can't think of anyone right now that thinks that we're going to win, or even get a result whatsoever, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. And you mentioned the Hugh Izzy videos there. Gunner blog made a great video on it as well. Both really depressing features as well, and the video I did myself wasn't the cheeriest by any means. It's certainly not the most positive. And I think realism is setting in with a lot of Arsenal fans that this is typical. This is what we do. We bottle it at this stage in the season. And I was actually reading an article in the Daily Mail earlier, which Daily Mail doesn't hold a lot of credibility, but just the amount of points we picked up from now until May, the end of the season, and it's been roughly about 20 points, which is just, I mean, this season that would leave us on 74 points, which could be enough to win the title. You never know in what has been such a topsy-turvy campaign. But there have been seasons where we've finished about fourth and we've had more points than we currently do on the board as it stands, which is really a worrying sign, I think. And given that this season is panning out in a really weird way, and it is definitely there for the taking, we're only 5 points off. It's I can't really put it into words quite how disappointing it was on Sunday. I don't want to get too off topic, but you can't help but feel that what history tells you is that the exact same is going to happen this season. And like you were saying earlier, Seb, players have got to step up and be counted. We need more leaders in this squad. Do you think that possibly a lack of leadership was the defining problem in the defeat yesterday?
Absolutely, because at the back, when we ever capitulate at the back, it's just everything falls apart. And there's not enough shouting out there. It's just, Well, I wasn't at the game, so I can't necessarily say, but I was watching it at home downstairs, and I can see it in my own eyes. It's definitely the lack of leaders. Because the likes of Tony Adams, Martin Keogh, they would suffocate through that. We've had those leaders, I just miss them now. We don't have any of that, and that's what's missing. And the spine of the team is just gone.
Yeah, it's a great point you make there. I would wholeheartedly agree with you that this is a squad that is severely lacking in leaders, and we've had the captain discussion a million times. I had it last night with Danny on last night's Google Hangout, and it really is quite hard to find a character in the Arsenal dressing room that can step up and be counted as a leader. The obvious one for me is Petr Cech at the moment, but Matt, if it was up to you, if you had to pick a new Arsenal captain, like just tomorrow, who would you have to pick?
I mean, I've heard those rumors flying about Czech next year possibly being named captain. You know, I'm of two minds. And one of the things about the fans, I think that we get very stuck in these decisions. You know, like Seb mentioned a second ago about how everyone's demanding Gabriel play. Mertesacker is one of our most valuable veterans, and you know, we kind of think that he's too old and slow and he doesn't keep up. You know, I don't know how true that is. I think what he brings to the match is probably more stability than, you know, obviously Gabriel had as you said, kind of a shocker of a game yesterday. So I don't know. I would make sure that he gets back in the squad personally.
It's an interesting one, the whole Gabriel Mertesacker debacle, and again, similar to the captain's armband discussion. I mean, I can't really put my finger on which one of them is the more superior player. In my opinion, we've got two good options, but we haven't got one great option. And the way I see it, we need to go out in the summer and invest in a £35 million, well, even £25 million centre-half, someone like Hummels, you know, someone that can get alongside Laurent Koscielny for a few seasons, do a job, and form a title-winning defence. Because at the moment, that's not what we've got. Gabriel can't do it in the big games. Per Mertesacker, said it before, he's getting older. That's nothing to do with him being a poor player, but he is being a little bit more exposed this season than he has done in previous campaigns. And it is an issue for us. But that aside...
Can I just mention something?
Yeah, sure.
People been going on about saying Petr Cech as a good captain. I would possibly take that into consideration, but I just don't think goalkeepers are the perfect choice, to be honest, because... Yes, okay, you can say David Seaman's done it in the past, and we've got Hugo Lloris or those spuds as the captain. They make a fair point, but I just don't. If you get them keeper, then it's a long way. All that shouting is going to be done. It's a long way back, and then it won't get to the heart of the team.
I do agree with you, but
I don't think they can lead very well.
The thing is, like we have someone like Laurent Koscielny as captain. He doesn't talk. As much as I love Koscielny, he's not vocal. So what's the point in giving him the armband? You might as well give it to Cech in that instance. But as well as that, I mean, the candidate for me, if he was fit, would hands down be Jack Wilshere, if he was fit. But that's a big if, it's a big but. And it's one that, you know, I don't really see happening anytime soon. I mean, we don't even know how long he's back going to be, how long it is until he's back from his current injury. So I wouldn't pin too much hope on Jack Wilshere getting the captain's armband. But it sickens me in a way that the armband has been kind of irrelevant ever since Gallas took it. You know, since we got Gallas in and we made him captain, that's where it lost its credibility for me. Totally lost its credibility. He was a garbage captain.
Definitely.
And, then we've had people like Van Persie having the captain's armband. Why was that? He was never a leader. He led by example, but he was one of the most negative figures in our dressing room during his period with us. As well as that Fabregas getting the armband, was never really a leader for me.
He wasn't really a good captain either.
No, it was just we seemed to go through a phase where we made our best players our captains, which was just a poor way of doing it. And yes, you know, they can lead by example on the pitch, but you need someone vocal, someone that has good organisational skills. And I just think it's just lost its credibility at Arsenal Football Club. I mean, you look at the clubs around us. Chelsea have got John Terry. Yes, he's leaving in the summer, but has been a superb captain for his reign there. Then you've got Manchester City, Vincent Kompany. I mean, I think he's a class captain as well. Going over yesterday, congratulating the Liverpool players despite losing. I mean, I think he's a class act as well in terms of being a leader.
Yeah, we don't have, like, when people in our team get frustrated, they don't come up and, not all of them come up and clap the fans. Like Sanchez.
Well, I think it relates back to this being, I do think this club is a bit disconnected with its fans in a way because I mean, ever since yesterday's defeat, the talk of Kroenke, Gazidis, all them mob coming out again has, come out from under the woodwork. And it is relevant. It is totally relevant because we do have people in charge of our club like Stan Kroenke who don't really care about football, but they care about us in terms of a business entity. And I hate the thought of Arsenal Football Club being a brand, which is what we are to a lot of people. I mean, if we were to do the talking on the pitch, then the revenue, the branding around the world would take care of itself. I think that's what Kroenke fails to see. But we won't talk about that too much. Like I say, I wanted to get away from the doom and gloom a little bit and focus on how we can rectify our mistakes in the game.
And someone just messaged me here. Do you think Ozil will be a good captain? Because
no,
I think he's vocal enough.
Well, let me ask you. Can I ask you guys a question? Because
yeah, sure.
I mean, obviously, Arsenal for the last couple of years is kind of developing this British core, which certainly kind of seems like it's fallen apart really and hasn't really delivered what it had promised. I mean, this is something, I'm not trying to make this some kind of xenophobic comment, but like a lot of our star key players, I mean, do they even have the skills, the English skills to be that leader, to shout, to communicate, to talk to people that way? Because I feel like you never see Ozil talk English. You never see Sanchez talk English. Obviously, Gabriel barely knew how to speak anything other than, he's not going to be a leader anyway. But, I mean, most of our players, I mean, Koscielny, I don't really see him speak English too much. Giroud always seems kind of iffy with English as well. So I don't know who else would be somebody that could step up and give, like, those motivational speeches to people. It's such a cultural difference there,
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to answer because you do see a lot of foreign captains in the Premier League nowadays, and I've got nothing against it whatsoever. But in my opinion, I've always liked the idea of having an English captain, someone that can rally the squad, and I do think that's vital in terms of building up a good morale within the team. But I don't think it matters too much whether they're foreign or not. I mean, Seb, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, sorry I didn't quite catch that last bit. One of my friends was letting me know.
Do you want to go ahead with it, Matt, your question?
No, so, I mean, I basically was talking about this idea that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the foreign captain, I just don't know if any of the Arsenal players have the English communication skills to be that leader and yell and shout and get people going. I think Mertesacker maybe is the most vocal with the best English skills. I don't know if anyone else can step up in that role, though. That's only what my comment was.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's a big problem, and I also think that the manager's to do with this as well, because I don't think he really cares. I don't know why he's giving it to, like, our current captain is Arteta. He can't even get into a second-rate Arsenal team. And in recent year, we had it with the Marlow. He couldn't get into the team. So I think the only reason he's probably giving it to Arteta is because I've been hearing about his leaderships are good off the pitch, in the dressing room. But you don't just need it in that place.
Did he even travel to the squad with the squad yesterday, though?
He wasn't on the bench. No, not that I saw.
No, exactly. So I mean, what use is that if he's not even in the matchday squad?
Exactly.
Like I say, we will try and get away from doom and gloom now by going onto the game on Wednesday. Matt, I'll come back to you. I thought there were some really poor individual performances against Man United, and I'm not ashamed to name names. I'll definitely say Aaron Ramsey and Walcott were the poorest of the squad, as well as Gabriel.
Yeah, Walcott for sure, though, I think above anybody else.
Yeah, he was. I don't know what to say. I mean, it was something like $9,000 he earned for every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, was it
Absolutely
16 touches or something like that?
Yes, unbelievably poor. But what changes would you make going into the game?
Well, I mean, we were kind of tweeting about this earlier in the day, this idea. I mean, obviously, are you going to be doing any kind of rotation with that North London derby coming up this week? If so, I mean, I don't know. I guess the back five, I would say, keep the same. My midfield, I don't know what to make of the midfield, honestly, because obviously Coquelin, you need to have him in there over Flamini, but he and Ramsey don't seem to be working very well together. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what, El Nenny's got such small play time. I hate to say put him in over Ramsey. Ramsey's obviously is a more class player, a more skilled player than El Nenny is, I believe, at this point. But I don't know. I'm one of those guys. I don't want to sound too much like our old friend Claude here and just want constant change and shake up and stuff all the time. But I don't know. The midfield's a big question. And then I don't. This is the big to me. Okay, here's the big question: do you sit Sanchez in this game on Wednesday? He's had just nothing but shockers the last couple months.
No, he has. No, that's true, but I don't think he'd approve of being dropped as well. Well, it relates back to that topic of player power, which was discussed previously, and I think he is one of those players that would get really wound up if he didn't play in the game because he probably sees himself as one of the better players in the dressing room. And I'd sympathise with him in that sense. We know what quality he's got, and I'm not down for any minute that just because of this poor run of form he's transformed into, a Chris Brunt kind of player. But he is still, for me, probably the second best player at Arsenal Football Club at the moment, behind Mesut Ozil. That's a really debatable one, but we won't get into that. I don't know, it's a bit difficult because I remember when last season Giroud had an absolute stinker against Monaco when we lost 3-1 to him, and the next game he responded by getting a goal against Everton. For me, it's weird because he came back into the squad after his injury, got a goal and assist against Burnley, should I say. Did really well in that game. But aside from that, nothing, absolutely nothing. And possibly it would give him the kick up the backside he needs, as well as giving him a little bit of respite heading into the North London derby. But Seb, what's your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, definitely. Well, with Theo Walcott, it's just, I think he should be the one mainly that should get dropped. And I will play Danny Welbeck and Giroud because Welbeck I'm really like on those wings. His work rate is incredible. He's a player that never gives up, and he usually knows what to do with the ball. With Walcott, yes, he's quick. Yes, he has his stamina, but he doesn't always say, "Oh, what do I do with the ball?" Sometimes he just does not have a clue what to do with it. Like for their first goal. Like, for example, yesterday I also coached a team of Cheney under-12s, and I kept shouting whenever the ball's in that box, I kept shouting, out, 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 and they listened. Theo Walcott, what did he do? He just dribbled with it, lost possession, and he went to Rashford, bang! And that, I'm so sorry, but that is a mistake a 5-year-old wouldn't make.
No, we can't afford to have passengers in a game like this, but it's the exact same heading into the derby as well. We've got to have every single man fighting for every single ball because it's a must-win game. There can only be one result at the end of it. So yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with starting Danny Welbeck, and for me, Walcott doesn't. I wouldn't even put him on the bench in this game. He was just so garbage.
Well, maybe if he's not on the bench, this would actually teach him a lesson. Then hopefully this will actually make him better, make him realise, oh, well, I've got to really step up. Or
I don't know what's happened to the guy because he came back at the end of last season. We gave him that role as a striker, got the hat-trick against West Brom, scored in the cup final, started this season he went on a bit of a drought when own goal was our top goal scorer at the start of the season. But then, he played really well against United at home, played really well against Watford away, was looking more and more convincing, and suddenly he's just gone flat. And I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because we've been playing him out on the wing a bit, but even yesterday, I thought it was a big statement, a lot of faith Wenger put in him, because he actually put Danny Welbeck, who is renowned as a striker, on the flank and put Walcott up top, which, was, for me, laid down a big marker in terms of what Walcott's position is. And Walcott didn't take the chance. Didn't take the chance that was given to him.
Was that the right kind of a defense, though, set up to have Walcott? Because generally, he's in there. Don't we usually play him in there when we want a very speedy, kind of counter-attacking, offense. I don't know if that what the kind of defense that United was playing yesterday. It just felt like he was nowhere. He didn't participate. He wasn't, obviously not doing any hold-up stuff, kind of stuff that Giroud would normally do, which maybe is more needed. I don't know what the call, why Wenger went with that, other than the fact that he was the one that started when we defeated them so badly back in October.
It's interesting because when we played United away from home last season, beat them 2-1 in the Cup, we started with an almost identical front four to the one that played yesterday, bar Chamberlain coming in for Walcott. I remember Chamberlain had a superb game that night. It just shows what work rate does, because Chamberlain worked his socks off in that game as well. But right back to the topic of Theo Walcott, I don't think he deserves to start this game. And if you're having to pick your front three for this game, Seb, who would you go for?
I would still actually, I probably wouldn't drop Sanchez, but because I think one of these games, we always know he's a type of player that can always pop up with the goods. Him you can actually trust. Well, Walcott, when his form is poor, it stays flat for a while. So, example, I will go Giroud centre forwards, Welbeck and Sanchez on one flank, and Ozil in the middle. I will personally go with that.
That's interesting, definitely. I'd go with something similar. I'll get onto mine last though, because Matt, I want to come to you. Who would you be inclined to start up front tomorrow? Not tomorrow.
Pretty much the same thing. Obviously, I don't think anyone's gonna after that performance on Sunday that anyone's gonna be plumping for Walcott to start anytime soon. Danny obviously needs to start. Ozil obviously needs to start, as Hugh Wizzy said, I think yesterday. Right now we're Ozil FC, so we don't really have a lot of choice as far as that goes. But I want to go back to my other question that I had before, because I know I'm not saying one way or the other. I have a lot of questions about this, and I know we keep saying this. Sanchez is a quality player. Form is temporary. I know all that stuff that we talk about, but. You keep playing him and keep saying next game, he's going to score. I mean, what did Joel Campbell do wrong to lose his place in the team?
Yeah, someone should brought that up. Joel Campbell was actually working really hard. When you played against Liverpool and the next game after that, Stoke, I think it was. Yeah, Joel Campbell at that time, he was playing fantastic. And then for some game, he got dropped.
I think it was Chelsea at home. Was it Chelsea at home or Southampton?
No, he played at Chelsea. I think you might find it Southampton.
No, I think it was one of those games where he played poorly. But in both of those games, no one played well. So I don't think he could be used as a scapegoat. I think personally, Wenger doesn't really, envisage him as part of his long-term plans. And I think that's obvious when he plays Chamberlain ahead of Campbell, when the form of Campbell is far superior to Chamberlain's. And it just shows that Chamberlain is the long-term option on that right-hand side for us in Wenger's mind. But for me, heading into this game on Wednesday, Campbell has more than merited a start, because the players in front of him are just doing nothing to earn their places in the team. And I think we'll get onto my front lineup that I think should be starting this game. And personally, I would opt to have Daniel Welbeck starting again, but I'd have him on the right flank this time. Joel Campbell possibly on that left-hand side, replacing Alexis Sanchez, because that might not be the worst idea in the world. If we're, dare I say, comfortably winning this game, why not bring on Alexis Sanchez, give him a chance to get a goal? And then I'd start with Giroud up top as well, which I think is a really hard-working front three. I'm not going to say it'll guarantee us goals, because we don't look like scoring. And I think this is going to be a really tough game. I mean, Swansea took the game to Tottenham at the weekend, and it was a rather fluky goal they scored, but I mean, they're a really hard-working team. They're fighting for survival this season, so it's, they've already got a really good record against us at the Emirates Stadium, and albeit we beat them 3-0 with the Liberty earlier on this campaign. I think this will be really difficult.
I remember our games against Swansea over the years, and last year, I actually got an interview last year on Arsenal Fan TV at that game when we lost to them. And I just don't understand it, because I feel this has been a big problem for us in recent. Because in games like Southampton, Hull, most matches we beat, then their keeper has turned up as man of the match. It's because we're not shooting properly, and we're just hitting the ball at the keeper. You cannot name me one save they make which you could go, wow, that's a world-class save. It's just very poor finishing. And we've got to start doing this, because this is all coming back to haunt us now, all these slip-ups, where Southampton, we could have been bossing it. And I believe in that Chelsea game, when in most of that second half, we were all over them in that last 10 minutes, but with our whole lack of shooting and lack of firepower, could anyone actually see we were going to score? No. And then we did it against Hull, and now look what we've got, an extra game of replay, which we don't need. And I was disappointed when I came out of those games, and it's all really coming back to roost us. And if we get our chance, we take it. Take it, take it. And this is, I don't want to bring up transfers, but world-class striker will get that in first time. If you had a Benzema, a Suarez, a Banyang, a Royce, anything, they will put it in first time. Well, we do have strikers that sometimes need about 4 or 5 chances to score. You ain't going to get that. I said in the Barcelona preview, when one chance comes, you take it. Otherwise, it comes back and haunts you. It's exactly what Barcelona did, because Chamberlain didn't take his chance. Giroud's missed a couple. Didn't someone else miss a chance? I think it was Mesut Ozil.
Ramsey as well.
Was it? Yeah, was it Ramsey? Yeah, exactly. I've said this many times. Is that if people have actually seen this, I'm sure most of you know this. We're the most successful created chance team in the Premier League. We've created the most chances, but our conversion rate is at the bottom, and that really, really needs to be addressed, because it's just the same old problems. Then we're making it keep and make it look good.
That's a good point. I mean, again, this whole season is just crazy. I don't really, obviously I don't understand what's going on with Leicester, because they actually they've created about 100 fewer chances than we have this season, but their conversion rate is insane. Yeah. But I mean, is Jamie Vardy a better striker?
Well, I don't know.
The people we have, I don't know what's going on.
He's a genius if he can score as many as he did on the trot. He's a bit of a genius.
Vardy's goal ratio this season speaks for itself, and you compare it to Giroud's, and this season he's been the better striker. That speaks volumes for me. And I'm not doubting Giroud whatsoever. Although he's gone 9 games without a goal, what he offers to this squad is second to none. The guy's exceptional in my opinion, given what we paid for him. And then you look at Leicester, how much they've invested in their squad, and everything that we've done over the past decade trying to win this title again is irrelevant. Completely irrelevant if Leicester City win the title, because it just means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
All the excuses about money and can't keep up with City and United and everybody else, Leicester screws that whole thing up. But that's the thing. So we keep saying we need a world-class striker. Is Vardy a world-class striker? Is Mahrez a world-class goal scorer?
Well, you can ask these questions forever. There are endless questions you can come up with, and it's just like they're all irrelevant. If Leicester City go on to
this
season, and I don't know what I put it down to. I really don't. It's our own problems that we're causing, because we should be flying ahead of this Premier League table. I mean, Leicester they should still be doing well, but they should be fighting for a top 4 spot, and we should be about 15 points clear at the top of the table.
Exactly. We could be for ourselves. Yeah, we could be quite comfortably clear. This is what really, really frustrates me. We should have a team right now that should absolutely be capable of walking this league. And what's just so frustrating as fans is that we're 90% there. We just need key areas that need addressing. Like, in the summer, if you asked any other fan, I think Danny said that on your preview last night, on your review last night, James, that we needed a CDM, a goalkeeper, which we got, and a striker, a top-class striker. And I mean top-class, not average, not mediocre, not can do a job. Then we will be there. I think the reason is that we are still up there, but I think it's just because I don't think it's really because we've moved forward enough. I think it's just
the thing is,
everyone else has dropped back.
You say we're 90% there, but haven't we been saying that for a decade now?
Yes,
90% there.
Yeah, but the reason you're saying this for a decade is because Wenger doesn't do it. He don't address it. We've been waiting to replace Patrick Vieira for 10 years. We've been waiting to replace Robin Van Persie for ages, because we have all the creative activity. It's just in the creative midfield all fine.
Okay, so let's talk about that quickly, because we haven't. I think Patrick Vieira is one of those players that is kind of irreplaceable. The only player that I thought could potentially have been a replacement for him came up last season, and that was Kondogbia. And I don't even know.
Why didn't we go for him? Surely Arsenal's a bigger club in Inter Milan.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and as well, you mentioned Van Persie not being replaced. We got Giroud in, and it took him about 2 or 3 seasons to become as prolific as he is now.
Yeah, anyway,
that's not even as prolific as we necessarily need in terms of winning the league. And
anyway, to be honest with you, Giroud wasn't actually a replacement for Van Persie, because Wenger actually said in his press conference, Giroud and Podolski we had at that time are here to work with Van Persie.
I don't think that was true though. I think he was just covering his own back by saying that.
Well, that's not good enough. That is just not good enough.
Yeah, but it's not the first time Wenger's come out and not spoken the truth. I mean, we've seen it happen time and time and time and time and time again. So I'm not, and every manager does it, and I'm not pinpointing Wenger, but it's just something that happens in football. But
True.
I mean, as well as that, we go on to this endless cycle really of getting rid of our best players and then getting players in that can do a job in about 4 or 5 years' time when they've developed into the Premier League and they're looking like real talents that are in their prime. And it worries me a little bit that we've done the exact same with Mohamed El Nene, and I'm not going to judge him too quickly. I mean, he's had 2 FA Cup appearances and he was thrown into really difficult circumstances yesterday, but he does look like a £5.4 million signing. He looks very ordinary, 23 years old. I'm not criticising the guy by any means. It's a huge move for him coming from Basel to the Arsenal. It's a huge move to a team that are challenging for the Premier League compared to challenging for the Swiss League or whatever. So I sympathise with him, and I hope he does as well as possible. But he does look like an ordinary player at the moment, and we need something better than ordinary. I mean, you can't be telling me that there must have been better out there in that January transfer window. And staying on the topic of El Nene, Matt, going into the game on Wednesday, Ramsey's been garbage. Why not give El Nene a shot?
I mean, it's possible. That's the thing. Like, obviously, again, when he was signed, Wenger said that he could play as a box-to-box midfielder. So maybe give him a shot. His first few minutes when he first played, I don't know. It was interesting. Like, he was taking some long shots and doing some other things like that, which I feel like that's another thing that I know this is a random off-topic thing that we got to maybe talk about. But the fact that, I mean, we need to start taking some shots from outside the box. I don't know what's going on anymore.
It's not
that's another thing.
It's like every free kick, every corner we have, it goes short. Or if we do take a corner, then it's garbage. We do nothing from our set pieces. We're a club that every single player, the minute they come to Arsenal Football Club, is ingrained into their mentality that they've got to be within 2 yards of the goal in order to have a shot. So that's just how it works, sadly.
That's the thing. I don't know if, like, going back to some of these other players, and again, I don't want to go off topic too much, but I mean, I don't know. I guess that's the thing. You say, is Ramsey, is his form right now, is El Nene's form better than what Ramsey's giving us right now? Is he going to be able to do what needs to be done? I don't know. I think, like you said, I mean, this guy's he is what he was paid for. He's not certainly at Ramsey's level, but Ramsey's not delivering what we need. I don't know. It's a tough call.
I can't get my head around Aaron Ramsey at the moment because I don't know what position he plays in. Is he a box-to-box? Is he an attacking midfielder? Is he a winger? Because all he does every game is chase shadows. The whole game just chases the ball like a dog, like that's been let off his leash.
Yeah, true.
So
Can I just come back to the point
sure.
on free kicks, on the set pieces? The only person that actually seems to be actually making them work is Mesut Ozil, because his free kicks, he's assisted Welbeck twice recently. Ozil's the only actual person actually doing so, but everyone else just doesn't seem to be interested.
Oh, true, very true. But yeah, relating back to the topic of Aaron Ramsey,
yeah, sure.
and what happened on Sunday against United, our midfield was non-existent with him in there alongside Coughlin, and Coughlin was having to do essentially 2 man's work, and I do feel bad for him because I think it is affecting his form ever so slightly. I don't think he had a particularly great game at United, but he's still one of those players that can leave with their head held high because he was one of the more committed ones on the day.
He's having to do everything on his own.
Everything, yeah, because Ramsey's not giving him any support whatsoever. And the thing that winds me up so much with Ramsey is that he's trying to do all this swish stuff, all these Rabonas and all these step overs, and why? What's the point? Half the time he does them, he's backtracking. So what's the point in that? I think we're in a position now where we've got 2 not great options in midfield to play on Wednesday night. We either play Ramsey, who's shockingly out of form, or we play El Nene, who is, I don't know, the Craig Gardner of his time. So I don't really know what we go with on Wednesday night. I would love to have Cazorla and Wilshere back.
Yeah, we seriously miss Santi Cazorla because Ramsey just gives the ball away too much. Cazorla won't. He'll actually keep it.
No, we can't dictate games with Ramsey. We can't take control of games. We just, because our passing is just abysmal. It's non-existent. I mean, who would you opt to go with, Seb, on Wednesday? El Nene or Ramsey?
Oh. Oh, this is a very tough one, but I just have to slightly edge it to Ramsey because I just really don't know. It's a hard one. With Onana, you have to actually give him a chance, but I think Ramsey probably just about because maybe he actually comes from Cardiff because it's
Yeah,
Swansea
it is a game.
connection.
He's got to be motivated for this game, surely.
Yeah, so probably I'll just say Ramsey.
Yeah, but if he doesn't do it in this game, then I mean the thing is, I want him to pick up. I would start him in this game as well, and I want him to pick up heading into the North London derby because I don't think El Nene knows quite what the North London derby is at the moment. Whereas Ramsey's got the understanding of what it is, and he'll be that little bit more committed to the game than El Nene might be. I'm not questioning El Nene's commitment, but I think Ramsey, just given his time at the club, knows how much the derby means to all of us. God forbid if we lose that, but. Again, it's a big game for him on Wednesday because he's got to be motivated against former rivals when he was at Cardiff. So he's got to be up for this game. He's just got to be. And I think he is the option to start there, not necessarily a good option. And let's talk about the defence very briefly. Matt, we were talking about it before we went on air. Gabriel or Mertzak, and neither of the two for me are particularly outstanding options at the moment. But who would you opt for? Let's not forget, Swansea have got a lot of good players going up front. They've got Montero, who, I say good players, he's been really poor for them.
Did you see what he did last season when Swansea played us at the Liberty?
Yeah, and it'll probably
Owned
be the exact
us.
same in this game. Give Bellerin
So,
absolute
so,
rinsing. But
so he'll know what to do. He'll go into that game thriving with confidence.
yeah, they seem to be struggling for goals, Swansea, as well, especially since they've let John Joe Shelby go. And I do think it is a game where we can control the midfield that little bit more, but players that can get a goal from set pieces, Sigurdsson, etc. Bafétimbi Gomez, got to remember he's still part of that Swansea squad, but they do struggle for goals. They're looking very, very threadbare at the moment. Matt,
Yeah, indeed. I think, just to go back to your original question, I don't know. To me, I don't think there is a question. Mertesacker needs to start. He's got the more, and again, I know that all these arguments about how he's old, and there's a lot of people that want to get rid of him, and he's too slow, and he's whatever, giraffe on ice skates, whatever the cliches are that we've heard before. I don't know, I think he's got the mentality, he's got the leadership, to be there. I think he needs to be there after, Gabriel's shocking performance this last weekend, and I don't know. I mean, because again, I guess that's the question to go back. Sorry, I want to kind of go back on this a little bit with talking about Swansea. I'm just kind of looking at their statistics. I'm not too familiar with their season right now, but obviously they've had a mess of a season. Kind of Gomez came out really big at the beginning of the year and sort of flopped. Ayu's their leading scorer still right now with 8 goals. I don't know. Like I said, Pulaski had this really kind of whatever sort of lucky chance against Spurs the other day. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of offensive threat that they're going to pose, but did we talk about this, that Swansea seems to have our number? Like, for some bizarre reason, we seem to lose to
Matt,
them.
in this game, you got to forget that kind of stuff. They're a poor team this season, and we're meant to be going for the title. We've got to win it.
I agree, but just for whatever reason, I don't know why they seem to get us. They got us both, twice last year?
Yeah, did a double over us last season.
I mean, I don't know.
We've got to be beating them. I mean, that 3-0 win that we got away from home, fairly decent performance. That we've got to be taking some inspiration from that as well and start a similar team. I think it doesn't help that we miss Cazorla for a game like this because, again, it's a game where we've got to be taking control of the midfield and we've got to be breaking Swansea down because you know that they're going to play for a point, I think, although they have still got that attacking threat. So, it's going to be a really difficult game. I am not really looking forward to it. Seb, on a final note, I think, what's your score prediction heading into this match?
Oh. I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal because we can do it. It'll either be, I do think we'll bounce back, but we've just got to take the game to Swansea attack because we need to go into that North London derby on Saturday on a good high with confidence. Like with a good win will get us back onto track and get us with the confidence, then maybe, just maybe, we could be back on track because I still don't want to start thinking that the title's gone because I don't like writing this off too soon, but But it's just the thing is we're just making it far too hard for ourselves because we keep dropping stupid points. I wouldn't mind if there were points which were really difficult, but they're not. They're really, really simple points. It's too many times. So I'm sorry, this has to be 3 points, or you can kiss the league goodbye. And I've said from start to finish, as soon as I saw Pep was going to City, this has to be our year. We take that title. It has to be this year because this is our best chance now. We're possibly going to have for like quite a while. And I really mean it. I cannot have. If we lose the title to Leicester and Tottenham, oh dearie me, I just don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
No, if we don't win it this season under Arsene Wenger, then we're never going to under Wenger, which is a sad reality, especially after what the guy has done for the club. But yeah, I think it's like I say, it's going to be a tricky game on Wednesday, and I'd love to say that we can go into it hoping for a convincing 3-0 win and just a really good performance to give us some confidence heading into the game on Saturday at 12:45 against Spurs in the derby. But honestly, given the way things are going, I think it's going to be a really, really, really scrapey affair, and I think we're going to come away with what could just be, I could see us going 1-0 down and clawing it back to 2-1 in really unconvincing circumstances. Matt, what's your score prediction for this match?
I mean, a couple things. Obviously, it has to be a must-win. You have to play for the 3 points. Second thing, I'm always sort of optimistic. I know that they're 16th. They're a mess. You know, they're Gary Monk's miracle. All that stuff fell apart this year. I don't know what happened to them. They have different managers. Seriously, we cannot beat this team at all. We should just pack it up because we cannot at all challenge for the league at all. I want to say 2-0, but again, that might be optimistic because Ashley Williams is still doing a pretty good job. I mean, he shut down Kane pretty well on Sunday, so hopefully we can get some past him. But I don't know. That's our whole problem is that we don't have conversion. So somebody needs to step up to make those chances end up in the back of the net, or else it's all over.
And that has been the problem for us, that we're not able to put the ball in the back of the net and convert our chances. But just got to hope we go out there and do it. I mean, I want a clean sheet. I want a good defensive display. I want a convincing win, and just want something that will leave us a little bit more upbeat heading into the derby, which is a must-win game. But the way we've got to look at it is on Wednesday, if we don't win, it's curtains. It's over, sadly, which is a sad reality. But on that note, that rather cheery note, I'll leave it there. Thanks to Matt from Brew City Gunners. Do make sure to check them out. I will leave them in the description box below. My thanks to Seb for coming on. I'll leave all these guys' information in the description, like I say. Thanks to each and every one of you that has tuned in tonight, and if you're watching it later on, thanks as well for watching it. Please do drop a like on this video and subscribe to AFC Game by Game if you are new to the channel. Again, thanks to the guys for coming on, and I will speak to you very, very soon.